Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back again with me, Mr. Hafid. Okay, in this change, I will continue about my material. Okay, the last occasion, I told about the heading, the title, information in the website that is defined by heading element H1 until H6. Okay, this is the HTML. Yeah, for developing website we have two language in the programming. One HTML, hypertext markup language, and the two CSS, cascade style sheets. Okay, in the CSS I have explained that the structure of CSS have some components. CSS composed to selector for number one, then declaration CSS self. Inside it there is two part. For part one, property, and the last part is value. Okay, for the selector I will explain about selector. Okay, for the verse I will explain that why selector is needed in CSS. Okay, when we write our code, the code of programming like color red like this, the browser has confused or error logical. Why? Because the element in an HTML document is more than one. Yeah, so if we write the color red without select the element, the browser can apply the code. So we must to write the selector. Okay, selector have 5 categories. Number one, simple selector, then combinator selector, pseudo class selector, pseudo element selector, and attribute selector. Okay, for the simple selector, number one, we can select the element of HTML based on the element name. For the example, we have learned about heading that defined by each element, H1 until H6. So if the element is H1, the elector should be H1. Yeah. Okay, number two, CSS by using name of ID. Okay, ID is one of attributes in the element. The ID of element is unique within a page, so the ID selector is used to select the one unique element. Yeah, the select element with a specific ID, right, has character or sub character. Yeah. For the example, if each one have a attribute ID, for example the ID is judul like this, so the code must be use a name of the ID. Yeah, the code write by sharp or hash character, then the name ID. Okay, next is the class selector. The class selector select HTML element a specific class attribute. So now just Just time I have told that id selector is the name of id, that is the element have the id attribute. Then for the class selector is the name of class, that the element have attribute class. Yeah. Okay, for the id can use by sharp character or hash character. For the class by dot character, yeah, or period character to select the specific class. For the example, if this time h1 has a sid judul, now I will change by h1 have attribute class, the name attributes is judul. This time the selector is hash character then name id. For the class we use period character or dot, then the name of class. Okay, this is a simple class. For the combination or combinator selector, pseudo class selector, I will explain the next time. Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.